Do you feel like there is something different inside you, but you've never been able to explain it? As if he carried a silent wisdom, something ancient, intense, that no one around him notices. You may feel a strange pressure between your eyes, vivid dreams that seem more real than reality itself, or feelings so strong that they arrive before the facts. No, you're not going crazy. And no, you're not too sensitive. It could be that your third eye is opening. And when that happens, nothing remains the same. What science calls hallucination or hypersensitivity, Carl Jung saw it as a symptom of spiritual expansion, an inner calling that most ignore, but the chosen ones cannot keep quiet. According to Jung, there is a dormant part within you, a part that, when awakened, transforms the way you see everything. And this part is what they call the third eye. Before continuing, I want to make you an invitation. Subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and leave your like. Here, each video is a space for listening and revealing, a place where what you feel finally finds words. In this video, you will discover the 5 clearest spiritual symptoms that your third eye is being activated. And what's more, how this could be a silent sign that you are one of the chosen. Because it's not about being better than anyone else, but to carry an inner mission that few have the courage to follow. Most people feel it, but run away. You will understand why. Get ready. Maybe everything they called you crazy, in fact, be the greatest sign that your soul is waking up. Because when the third eye opens, you don't see the world as it appears to be, but as he really is. Since you were a child, you already felt it. Not better, not worse, just different. While everyone fit into a system that seemed to satisfy them, you looked at the world with deeper eyes, as if reality were just a thin layer, and something bigger, invisible, pulsed behind it all. You knew something was wrong, even when no one else saw it. This feeling is old. Carl Jung called it archetypal memory, an ancestral call that awakens in souls destined for something beyond. Perhaps, while others sought toys, status, distractions, you found yourself looking at the sky, feeling a nameless longing, a hunger that cannot be satisfied with worldly things. This is not need. It is remembrance. It's your soul trying to remember where it came from. Jung said that some beings carry within themselves a deep spiritual heritage, and who wake up earlier for her. They are the initiates, those who need to descend into the shadows to be reborn with consciousness. You feel like you never belonged because you didn't come to fit in, came to transform. The true, chosen ones are almost always born displaced. They are the strangers of the family, the weirdos at school, the inadequate at work. But that was never a coincidence. It was preparation. Jung called this the process of individuation, the path to becoming who you really are. And this path begins with discomfort, in the silent refusal to live a life that doesn't represent you. How many of us have been diagnosed with anxiety, depression, or oversensitivity? But what if the fault is not with you? What if the world just doesn't understand your depth? What if your symptoms are actually signs of a spiritual awakening? Jung believed the soul has its own language, and when you don't listen to her, she screams. By the body, by emotions, by intuitions. Imagine a radar inside you, silent, precise. He captures everything that is not said, and it manifests itself as sensations, premonitions, chills. You enter a room, and you feel it. Someone lies, and you notice. Something is wrong, and you already knew it. Carl Jung would call this archetypal sensitivity. And today, many call it the third eye. Have you ever tried to fit in? Tried to be normal? Dim your own light so as not to disturb others. But the soul does not forget who it is, and it pulls you back in, always. A voice, sometimes whispering, sometimes shouting. You're not from here. You are here for a greater purpose. That voice is the same one that echoed in the hearts of the mystics, of visionaries, of curators. Some listened, others ran away, but the voice never penetrates. And most importantly, you are already on that journey, even if you don't realize it. Just the fact of seeking these answers, feel this discomfort, and want to understand the signs of your third eye, it is already a clear symptom that your soul is waking up. And if nothing else satisfies you, it's because you've already started to remember who you really are. When the third eye begins to open, he does not announce his arrival with flashing lights or heavenly harps. He arrives in silence, but a dense silence, cutting, almost always, uncomfortable. You may feel pressure between your eyebrows, headaches that come and go, eyes watering for no reason, sensitivity to light, insomnia, and nobody can explain why. Medicine can call it stress, migraine, hormonal dysfunction. But the truth is, your spirit is moving, and the body is trying to keep up. Carl Jung said that every awakening involves tension between the ego and the self. Your usual self comes into conflict with the soul that is awakening, and this friction generates symptoms. You are not sick. You are in transition, like the snake that sheds its skin, like the seed that cracks before it blooms. One of the clearest signs? That constant pressure between the eyes. Sometimes a tingling, sometimes a twinge, as if something was opening inside. This region has been known for millennia as the Ajna chakra, the point of spiritual vision. When it activates, the world changes. You feel the environment, perceives hidden intentions, read the truth behind the words, and all this without knowing how to explain it. Another common symptom: vivid dreams, intense, symbolic. You begin to see eyes, paths, lights, beings. Jung called dreams bridges between worlds. And when the third eye awakens, these bridges become true revelations. You may also notice subtle but profound changes. Too much noise bothers you. Artificial smells suffocate you. Busy environments drain your energy. It's like the whole world is in HD, but only you were noticing. Your soul is giving you back your senses. And that can be scary, but it's not a weakness. It's a gift. It just needs to be guided. Many people, when feeling all this, run to the doctor. Take medicine. Seek a diagnosis. And that's okay. Your body needs care. But sometimes, it's not the body that's screaming. It is the soul asking for passage. Jung said, "What you resist persists." And symptoms are the language of the soul, not to punish you, but to guide you. So before you silence the signals, listen, take note, welcome, investigate. Your body is not failing. He is revealing. And perhaps the most disturbing sign of all is when nothing makes sense anymore. Work, friends, hobbies, everything seems colorless. But that's not the end. It's the beginning. You stopped looking for distraction and began to seek direction. This is where automatic life ends, and the spiritual journey begins. Jung called this the process of individuation. I call it something deeper. The moment your soul stops waiting for you and starts calling you. When many people hear the word chosen, just imagine the privilege, a status, a rare gift. But whoever carries this calling knows the truth. Being a chosen one has nothing to do with being better. It's about seeing more, feel more, and suffer more too. It's not a title. It is a spiritual responsibility, a weight that doesn't appear, but that transforms everything. It's a silent call that comes through pain, for dreams, for the voids, and most importantly, you can even try to ignore. But one day he comes back, stronger, clearer, more inevitable. Carl Jung said, "When we deny the soul, we become sick inside." The call does not disappear. It just changes shape. It turns into anxiety, crisis, breakup, or insistent synchronicity. Maybe you've already felt this. An anguish without cause. A feeling that, even with everything fine, something inside you is imploding. You try to live like everyone else. But the soul doesn't let me. The chosen are like this. They feel the world's pain as if it were their own. They capture what is behind the words. They sense what no one sees. And one day, arrive at the crossroads. Follow the call or pretend nothing is happening. Most choose fear, but some choose the soul. Jung said that ignoring the self, that wise, profound, true part, is to live an empty, repetitive, sick life. Therefore, awakening is almost always accompanied by pain. Not for punishment, but because the universe needs to move you, need to break what is false, remove the old floor, leaving you without external support, until you stand on who you really are. And at that point, there is no more choice. Or you answer, or disconnect forever from your truth. But listen, you weren't called because you're special. You were called because you are needed. This mission requires courage. It will ask you to let go of old beliefs, face your shadows, and walk on trails that no one can see. It is a process of inner death and rebirth. But whoever crosses discovers a silent power, a type of authority that does not come from force, but of integration with the soul. If you are hearing this call now, through these words, through your dreams, through your restlessness, don't ignore it. Start small. Write. Silence. Listen. Every spiritual mission begins like this, with a yes whispered to one's own soul. And that yes changes everything. It doesn't solve your life all at once, but it opens an invisible trail, a trail just for you. In the end, the call does not come from outside. It is not a voice from heaven. It's an echo coming from within, that only the sensitive hear. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're already listening. The next step is not to understand everything. It's just admitting, I feel something different, and I need to find out what it is. This is the true beginning of the spiritual journey. And from now on, nothing will be the same again. If you've ever been told you're too sensitive, too emotional, or even too complicated, perhaps I carried this as a defect, as if feeling was a problem. But what if I told you that this sensitivity is, in fact, your greatest gift? Carl Jung believed that so-called hypersensitivity is a form of heightened spiritual perception, an intelligence of the soul, a silent radar that captures what the eyes cannot see. For him, there is no excess emotion without a symbol behind it. Every intense emotion carries a calling. Every unexplained tear reveals an invisible truth. What the world calls fragility is often an untrained spiritual superpower. The chosen ones carry an energetic sensitivity that goes beyond the ordinary. They realize what was left unsaid. You feel the vibe of a place as soon as you walk in. They sense what is about to happen and are affected by things that others don't even notice. At first, it's exhausting, confuses, isolates, but with awareness, this sensitivity becomes a compass. You stop being the target of energies and begins to navigate them wisely. Jung would call this a heightened intuitive function. It's like you have a direct line to the collective unconscious. You don't reason, you know. You don't see with your eyes, you feel with your soul. And this realization requires strength, but not the force that screams, the force that welcomes, that absorbs, that chooses. The strength of those who feel everything, but it doesn't break. The strength of those who suffer through empathy, but do not close your heart. If you feel drained in crowds, if you cry for no reason, if you need to isolate yourself to breathe, this is not a defect. It is a sign that your subtle energy is active. You are perceiving deeper layers of reality. And that's why you need more silence, more nature, more truth. The chosen ones cannot stand falsehood for long, not because they are fragile, but because their souls already reject what does not vibrate in authenticity. And there is something even stronger. The most sensitive are, almost always, the ones who hold the keys to healing. They are the artists, intuitive therapists, the silent counselors, the soul healers. Even without a diploma, they can transform environments. Your presence changes the energy. Your gaze calms. Your touch heals. But be careful. Without awareness, this gift becomes an overload. Therefore, it is essential to learn how to protect and care for your energy field. Meditation, herbal baths, conscious breathing, intentional silence, living nature. All of this is food for those who feel too much. Jung said, every gift comes with a shadow, and it is by embracing this shadow that true light is born. If your sensitivity has ever been a source of shame, rejection, guilt, it's time to rewrite this story. What the world told you to hide is, perhaps, exactly what you came to offer. The sensitive person feels more because you understand more, and who understands more can transform more. So, next time someone calls you too sensitive, just smile. You know, this sensitivity is what activates your third eye. It's what connects you to the truth. It's what makes you see what others ignore. It's not weakness, it's radar. And if you learn to use it wisely, you will realize your soul is much more awake than you imagined. Have you ever had a dream so real? Who woke up with his heart racing, as if I had lived another life, in another dimension? Those dreams that seem to bring messages, symbols, voices, presences, or even encounters with forgotten parts of yourself. Carl Jung said that dreams are the secret language of the soul. They arise when the conscious sleeps, and the unconscious can finally speak. But what if they are even more than that? When the third eye begins to open, dreams cease to be just mental processes. They become encoded spiritual visions, sacred maps of the soul. It's as if you access a parallel symbolic universe, where everything makes sense, but nothing is literal. Eyes, stairs, mirrors, lights, portals, numbers, falls, flights, encounters. Each symbol, it's a message. Each image, A step on your journey. Jung recommended, write down your dreams as soon as you wake up. They dissipate like mist, and what is lost in the symbol gets lost on the path of self-knowledge. Keep a dream diary. It's like having a mirror of the soul. You don't need to understand now, but one day, every detail will make sense. And on that day, your consciousness will expand. Many chosen ones report recurring dreams about lights, beings, wars, children, sacred animals, spiritual guides. These elements are not random. They are universal archetypes, symbolic structures that cross cultures, myths, and religions. Jung spent his life studying this and discovered the more intense the symbolism of the dream, more urgent is the call of the soul. If you feel like your dreams are changing, becoming more vivid, frequent, or lucid, is a sign that your third eye is capturing beyond matter. It's as if, while the body sleeps, your soul was being trained, ready to see other dimensions. This may include prophetic dreams, encounters with deceased loved ones, sensations of déjà vu that come true days later. And yes, all this is real, even if invisible to most. There is a name for this in spiritual psychology: dreams of initiation, dreams that mark spiritual turning points, that change everything. They say, without words, from here on, you can no longer pretend you don't know. These dreams come in times of crisis, loneliness, internal change, and almost always they leave traces. They impact for days, and they become silent milestones on your journey. If you have ever had a dream like this, write it down. Save, protect. Not everyone is ready to hear visions from the soul. And today, before going to sleep, do it differently. Leave a notebook next to your bed. Ask your soul a question. Simple, honest. How to? What do I need to see? Or, where should I go? Then just sleep and trust, because sometimes what you see with your eyes closed is truer than anything you've ever seen awake. Dreams don't lie. They just wait, that you learn to listen to them. There are days when you feel a strange weight between the eyebrows, a light pressure, a subtle tingling, a nuisance that does not come from outside, but it presses from within. Sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Others, it appears in the middle of a tear, during a meditation, or when you are too silent. Most people ignore it. Some run to the doctor. But those who listen understand. This pain is not physical. It's spiritual. It's the soul whispering. There's something you need to see. Carl Jung believed that the body is symbolic, that all pain is a message. And when the mind doesn't listen, the body speaks. The point between the eyebrows, known for millennia as the third eye, is the center of spiritual vision, from intuition, from higher consciousness. If this area hurts, throbs, gets hot, is a sign something is being activated. And the more you resist, the more intense it becomes. This pain doesn't appear for nothing. It usually arises when you are in conflict with your truth, when you lie to yourself, when you force something that your soul already wants to let go of, when you please the world but abandon your own voice. This pressure is a vibrational alert. It's the body saying, enough, listen, and then you feel a discomfort that pushes you inward, even if you don't know exactly where to go. Many try to silence with medicine, distractions, noises. But Jung said, what you do not bring to consciousness returns as destiny. What you ignore repeats itself. The pain you muffle come back another way. So instead of denying it, try asking, what am I not seeing? What am I avoiding seeing? Sometimes the answer comes right away, sometimes in the dream, but she always comes. Other signs of this awakening: tingling in the forehead, feeling of heat, chills that run through the body. They arise especially when you connect with something bigger. In prayer, in deep intuition, in surrender to the invisible. It's like your soul is pushing the truth out, transforming pain into direction. This type of symptom appears in those who are experiencing an accelerated awakening. Even if you don't understand yet, something inside you has already started to change. Therefore, cultivate practices that help channel this energy. Guided meditations for the third eye, visualizations with violet or golden light, crystals such as amethyst and lapis lazuli, baths with lavender, rue, rosemary. But remember, you don't need to cure this pain. You need to understand it. She is not an enemy. She is a messenger. It's in your favor, not against you. Then, the next time this pain arises, sit in silence. Bring your hands to your forehead, close your eyes, and say, I am listening. Because when the soul feels it is being heard, she doesn't need to scream anymore. And little by little, what was pain becomes vision. What was discomfort becomes clarity. And what seemed like punishment, it was just a silent invitation from his higher consciousness. Maybe you are going through a difficult time. Empty, gray, strange. A feeling of disconnection, of having lost the ground. As if everything had simply lost its meaning. Friends don't understand you. The family grows apart. And what used to make you vibrate, now it seems small, useless, silent. But what if I told you that this isn't the end? And if all this is, in fact, the birth of a new version of you? Carl Jung called this phase the dark night of the soul, a symbolic death, a silent crossing, a moment when everything collapses so that the essential can emerge. This is where the ego, this identity built to please, to fit in, to survive, begins to crumble. And in the void that remains, the soul, finally, begins to speak. It's confusing. It's lonely. It looks like you're getting lost. But the truth is, you are finding yourself in a deeper place. This process, which Jung called individuation, it is the path back to your essence. It's when everything that is false needs to fall. During this crossing, it's common to feel alone, but not because the world rejected you. And yes, because you were set apart to be refined. The soul of the chosen needs silence, needs absence. From the desert, it's away from the noise, from distractions, and even the applause, that you finally hear your true voice. And that voice is who will guide you back to the light. But be careful, this light will not come from outside. It will be lit from the inside out. And once lit, no one else will be able to erase it. Jung said, the shadow needs to be confronted before integration. So at that time, you will feel difficult things. Anger, sadness, fear, old resentments. It is the encounter with the shadow, and it's not a sign of weakness. It's progress. Only those who have the courage to look into their own abyss can activate the true light. The true chosen ones are not those who pretend to be enlightened. They are the ones who dive into darkness and return from there with wisdom. You will also go through difficult questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Does any of this make sense? But this is not a crisis. It's a sign of awakening. When the third eye opens, you can no longer accept ready-made answers. You need to feel the truth, experience it firsthand, discover it with the soul. And that requires a faith that cannot be learned from books. It can only be achieved through pain and courage. This is why many spiritual masters passed through deserts, prisons, illnesses, abandonment, not by chance, but on purpose. The soul needs pressure to reveal the diamond it carries. If everything seems to be falling apart now, it's because its old structure no longer supports the greatness of your new consciousness. This is not failure. It is real spiritual transformation. So breathe. You are not being punished. It is being rebuilt. Your soul knows the way, even when the mind doesn't understand. Carl Jung said, there is no awakening of consciousness without pain. And maybe, at this very moment, you are going through exactly what you need to go through to become who you were born to be. Continue. You are already in the middle of the bridge. And on the other side, there is a version of you who already knows where he is going. Have you ever tried to explain what you feel and nobody understood? Have you ever noticed things that seemed obvious to you, but invisible to others? As if your mind was on another channel, another frequency, another plan? This feeling can be lonely. You start to doubt yourself. If you are exaggerating, if you are paranoid, or even if you're going crazy. But what if you weren't going crazy? What if you were just seeing with the eyes of the soul? Carl Jung said that madness is often just the truth being told, by whom no one wants to listen. When the third eye opens, you don't just see angels and light. You begin to see the truth behind the appearance. Notices patterns and behaviors. Captures the lies that were never told. Feel the energy in the environments. Read intentions between the lines. And that distances you from a lot of people. Not out of arrogance, but due to vibrational incompatibility. What was once comfortable now suffocates. Shallow conversations are tiring. Distractions are boring. You start to desire only one thing. Depth. But depth, there is not always an audience. This is where many chosen ones suffer, because they think they are losing themselves, but actually are breaking free. They still don't understand that isolation, sometimes, is protection. That spiritual solitude is the prerequisite for the expansion of consciousness. You need to empty yourself of the noise of the world, to listen to the whisper of your soul. And when you start to see what no one else sees, everything that was automatic begins to dissolve. Old friendships, repetitive habits, lifestyles, even thoughts that no longer make sense. You're not missing out. You are being reborn. Jung said, "The privilege of life is to become who you really are." But this privilege requires courage. See beyond the veil means to abandon the illusion. And most of them prefers the comfort of lies to the pain of truth. Therefore, whoever awakens is almost always seen as strange, intense, exaggerated. But listen carefully. You are not seeing too much. The world is still not paying enough attention. At this point in the journey, it is vital to find anchors, references, spiritual practices that remind you of who you are becoming. Read Jung, Eckhart Tolle, Neville Goddard. Write about what you feel. Meditate. Connect with sincere souls. And above all, trust what you feel. Your intuition is wiser than 1,000 external voices. Do not doubt the truth that is being born within you, just because she is still invisible to others. Remember, Jesus was rejected. Socrates was accused. Jung was ridiculed. All of them. They saw what the world did not want to see, and yet transformed everything. Your clarity is a gift, and the more you honor her, the more it grows stronger. Don't try to fit in where your soul no longer fits. Expand, break, wake up, and when loneliness hits, remember Jung's words. Those who look outside dream, but whoever looks inside awakens. You have already started looking inside. You've already started to see. And from here on, nothing else will be deleted. Because once the truth is seen, it can never be unseen again. After everything we have shared here, tell me honestly, how many of these signs have you felt on your skin? And how many of them did you carry as if they were defects? Maybe you've spent your life trying to fix yourself, when, in fact, was just waking up. This is the paradox of the chosen. From the outside, they look like they are in crisis. Inside, they are blooming. You're not going crazy. You are remembering, aligning with a higher consciousness, a perception that goes beyond the physical eyes, a spiritual mission that has always been there, just asleep. Third eye symptoms are not diseases. They are silent confirmations that your soul is active. Pay attention. Wake up. And whoever feels this knows. There is no turning back. Once you see, you can no longer pretend you didn't see it. But knowing is not enough. This knowledge must be honored. Apply. Follow. So, I ask you truthfully, what will you do with this knowledge? Are you going to continue to ignore the signs? Or will you recognize them as the spiritual compass that they are? The choice is yours, and only yours. But remember, the chosen ones are not the ones who understand everything. They are those who have the courage to continue, even without understanding, because they feel, because they trust, because you know, deep down, that there is something bigger guiding all of this. If these words touched something deep inside you, it's because you're already on the path. Transformation doesn't start with answers. It begins with questions that awaken the soul. Keep searching, keep feeling, keep honoring this invisible journey that only your soul understands. If this message spoke to you, comment below the word spiritual awakening. That way I'll know you've heard the call, and that is ready for the next step. It is clear. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and turn on notifications, because together, let's continue exploring the mysteries of the soul, of consciousness, and the silent mission of the chosen.